Hello my motor enthusiasts. Today we're diving into the rollercoaster of emotions at the recent Dutch Grand Prix. You're tuned into F1 Motor Fever podcast.
Hello Enzo. I heard Alpine managed a bit of a turnaround, didn't they?
Indeed, William Turner. Pierre Gasly clinched a 9th place finish, securing 2 crucial points for the team. But it wasn't all smooth sailing, was it?
Far from it. His teammate Esteban Ocon described his car as a disaster and struggled throughout. Quite the contrast within the same garage.
Absolutely. Gasly was on fire, overtaking Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso right at turn 1 and managed to keep the pace throughout.
And amid all this, Alpine still trailing behind Haas in the constructors' battle, but they've widened the gap with Williams, who didn't score at Zandvoort.
Pierre must be chuffed with his performance, especially after those thrilling exchanges with Lewis Hamilton and Carlos Sainz.
It sounds like the team has a lot to analyze before heading to Monza. Would you say there's hope for Alpine yet?
Well, if Gasly's performance is anything to go by, definitely. But it's clear they need both cars in the points to truly make an impact.
A tall order but a possible one. Let's unpack this further in today's episode, shall we?
Hey everyone. You already know me, this is Enzo.
And this is William, at your service.
You're joined by William today.
Hello.
Make sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications to keep up with all the action here on F1 Motor Fever podcast. Let's put the pedal to the metal. What a race indeed. Pierre Gasly really shone at the Dutch Grand Prix, securing 2 valuable points for Alpine. Started off in a rough spot, though, didn't they? 18th and 20th in the first practice.
Absolutely, and then there's Jack Doohan in the simulator, crunching data overnight. Sounds like that effort paid off.
Indeed, Gasly himself said he wasn't optimistic initially but managed to pull through. That move around the outside of Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso at turn 1, pivotal, wouldn't you say?
Crucial for his race, no doubt. Managed the tyres well and kept Alonso at bay, which is no small feat, but what about Esteban Ocon, eh? Described his car as a disaster and felt like he was going to crash every corner.
That's right, and starting 15th thanks to Alex Albon's disqualification didn't quite help him much. Stuck in a doctor's train, ended up right where he started. Hang on, though, there's something that doesn't quite add up here. Let me just quickly check something. Hello, all good? I'm here discussing Sunday's race and a bit confused about Ocon's start position and the disqualification details. Could you clarify that for me? Right. Got it. Cheers, catch you later. Hanging up now. Turns out, the details are spot on. Ocon did start 15th, and it was indeed due to Albon's disqualification. Memory's playing tricks on me today.
Happens to the best of us. It's the finer details that often escape us in the heat of all the action.
True that. Let's keep the engines running and dive deeper into this story. Full throttle. Ocon's weekend didn't go as hoped, did it? Said it was a difficult one but acknowledged that Pierre Gasly and the team had good pace. That's something positive at least.
Absolutely, it's all about finding those silver linings, especially ahead of Monza. They're planning to turn things around, which could be crucial for the team's momentum.
Speaking of turning things around, Alpine's bigwigs, Briatore and Oaks, are talking about tempting Adrian Newey over and revolutionizing their base at in Stone. Seems like big plans are afoot.
That's a massive ambition. Newey's prowess could indeed be a game-changer for Alpine. But let's not forget the action from the Dutch Grand Prix. Lando Norris beating Verstappen on his home soil, that was something, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Verstappen himself pointed out that Red Bull isn't quick enough right now. Losing to McLaren on home soil must sting, prompting them to look for gains urgently.
And with the Italian Grand Prix at Monza just around the corner, the teams really need to buckle down. It's one of the fastest circuits, so every bit of performance counts.
Speaking of debuts, Antonelli's getting his first Formula One weekend outing at Monza with Mercedes. That'll be one to watch, given the high expectations on these young drivers stepping into the big league.
The next race is definitely shaping up to be a spectacle. Between team strategies, driver changes, and technical upgrades, there's a lot to keep an eye on.
Couldn't agree more. As we gear up for Monza, let's keep tabs on these developments and see how they unfold. William, what's the word on the street, internet-wise?
Right, listen to this. Arato states, quote, Norris made own call to go for fastest lap, McLaren would have said no, unquote.
Oh, intriguing. And what do the armchair experts have to say about that?
Well, the conversation is quite lively. User CU Henry T says, quote, I mean, unless you are not paying attention, you see that your driver spends a few laps filling its battery to 100% before the final lap, where he will be lowest on fuel. You'd think they knew he would go for it, unquote.
Seems like a bit of a no-brainer then.
And it spirals from there. User Tag X mentions, quote, some of the radio of McLaren engineers makes it feel like they're not watching their own race, unquote. And Marcy Motor Racing adds, quote, exactly, and what's with their standard question in every race, who are we racing, unquote.
That does sound a tad odd, doesn't it?
Indeed, it does. And it gets better. OK Entertainment 36 suggests, quote, it's clumsy and a bit odd, so maybe they are using this question as a code of sorts to ask something without Lando potentially answering too openly, like they don't want him to say how much harder he can push the car, unquote.
A secret code, eh? What do others think?
Caesar35 thinks it's, quote, basically a coded way of saying either, our pace is good, I think I can take max, or, our pace is rubbish, let's just consolidate P2, unquote. And then Red Panda 888 really takes it home, quote, depends how you read it. If they are playing 4D chess, his odd response could play off as him just appearing to state the obvious and himself being a bit confused at the question. But in reality, might be that he perfectly understands but is giving a less certain response to fool other teams. No idea, but I always assume there is a little more at play with radio comms than we realize, and some awkward wordings might be drivers and team trying to at the very least add a 5% element of doubt to any interpretation, unquote.
Hee hee, 4D chess on the racetrack, that's a new one. Seems everyone's got a theory.
Absolutely, and Login Forgotten chimes in with a dose of reality, saying, quote, this also applies to half the meetings I sit through at work, unquote. Seems like mystery and confusion aren't just limited to the racetrack.
Chuckles, that's for sure. Full of twists and turns, this discussion. Keeps you on your toes, just like a good race. Thanks for tuning into F1 Motor Fever podcast today. We covered quite a bit, from team strategies and driver insights to what's buzzing on the internet. It's been brilliant discussing all things Formula 1 with you. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're always in the loop. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to drop a comment, share our content with your mates, and spread the word on social media or wherever you hang out.
And remember, there's always something brewing on the horizon in the world of Formula 1. So, keep your eyes peeled and your ears open. We're here daily, bringing you the freshest takes and the most thrilling discussions.
Absolutely, William, and we genuinely appreciate your company. We're already gearing up for the next episode, and trust me, you won't want to miss what we have in store.
Thanks a million for joining us, folks. Your support keeps our engines running.
Pedal to the metal, keep your gaze on the road, our channel's content is pure gold. See you next time on F1 Motor Fever podcast.